Hey everyone, Jaquan here. Happy Friday and welcome back to another gameplay video. Today we're bringing in the Blurple Spice. Got ourselves some nice Mufasa and Donald Duck techs over here in this Blurple control deck that we're bringing to League today. Now our main focus for this deck is going to be ramping as quick as possible with Tipo, Azurite Sea, Kita, and Donald Ducks. That way we can get into our Hades much quicker. And the reason why we're only playing two Dumbos is because I only own two Dumbos right now, so we're just playing what we have. And let's see how this deck actually does today. Now, another thing to note as well is that with the deck, we are playing a new tech that a lot of people brought to some of the larger tournaments last weekend, which is going to be Second Star to the Right. So very underrated card and can give you a lot of card advantage. So looks like the Amethyst Steel deck is what we're going to be pairing against, and he does choose to go first, starting it off with the guard there. And that's a one drop, 1/4, and it is an illusion character. So he plays that, passes turn. Unfortunately, we do not have the one drop, which is going to be Basil in the Royal Guard. So that's going to be our one drops. We're not playing Develop Your Brain. I might change the list later if I do want to feel like I want to find more cards on the top of the deck. But we're going to be inking the Tipo, playing the Azurite Sea, so getting the second turn ramp is going to be very important here. And again, like, he can quest all he wants because later in the game is where we're going to come back and take control here. But we do also have to be wary of the Calhoun being paired with the Elsa 5-drop as well that Amethyst Steel decks can play. So he plays out the Genie. So Genie's a 3/4 and it does gain evasive on their turn, meaning that it does one-shot our Dumbos. Keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to be inking a card here, most likely going to be playing a Genie. So we're inking the Baymax, and we're playing a Kita. Okay, perfect. So we do have our turn 3 ramp. So Kita allows you to exert her, look at the top 2 cards of the deck, put one into the inkwell, exert it, and leave the other card on the top of the deck. So it allows us to sift through a lot of our deck, inking the things that we don't want and drawing the things that we do want on our following turn. So our opponent does play the Treasure Guardian. Treasure Guardian allows him to draw a card if you do control an illusion character. And aside from that, it's just a regular character, not an illusion. It's a 3/3 and it does quest for 2 here. So we use our Kita's ability, inking an additional card, and ideally we want to see a Donald Duck Flatfoot to be able to ink the top card of our deck. That way we can guarantee a 7-drop on the following turn. And as you can see here, the opponent is only on 4 ink right now. Okay, so we're playing the Elsa, exerting the Treasure Guardian, but we're going to be throwing the Elsa into the Royal Guard there. And hopefully we'll be able to take it out on the following turn. And sorry, I meant to say Palace Guard as well, not Royal Guard. So he plays the Madame. So this Madame is very interesting here. So this Madame will gain Challenger +1, and also other characters they control will also gain Challenger +1. So very interesting card. It does ensure that Genie Dragon will have enough to challenge into our Genies to be able to take it out in one go. So that Meta Mim we do have to watch out for, because he can also play Elsa 5-drop, exert one of our Dumbos, and take it out in one shot there. So we're playing out the Hades, banishing the Calhoun, or inking it actually. So that Calhoun should actually be in the inkwell, I believe. Okay, so he plays out the Giant Cobra, discards a card, gain his lore, and then plays out a Dock to discard his hand and draw 2 cards. But at this point, he did go pretty wide, so there's really not too much we can do to come back here. So we are probably going to take the L for game 1. We're going to ink Akita. Playing an Elsa shift. Okay. Freezing the Cobra and the Genie Dragon. But yep, realized that it's not actually enough still, so I went out to scoop the game, and that way we can just head right on to game 2. Okay, so that's going to be a pretty quick game there on the Amethyst Steel side. Again, they did go first, and all they really need to do is curve out very nicely and just aggressive quest early in the game, and hope that, you know, by going wide, we won't be able to recover because, again, a lot of our characters are relatively big, so we do rely on cards such as Genie or the Hades, actually, to banish a card into the Inkwell, and in that way we can also challenge in with some of our other characters as well. So we do start it off again, and we're going to be inking the Iago and passing. Unfortunately, we also did not get another 1-drop, but again, the main important thing here is going to be ensuring that we do not miss our turn 2 ramp. So he plays out the Palace Guard and passes turn. Can ink the Finders Keepers, playing the Sail, drawing a card and inking an additional card this turn. Choosing to ink the Madam Mim Elephant. Okay, so he inks the White Flower, playing the Calhoun on curve. So pretty similar game plan like last turn. We're throwing out the Kita and hoping we can ramp early. Luckily for us, Kita will be also to trade with the Calhoun, being a 3/3. And he won't also be able to target it as well because Kita does have ward, so keep that in mind. Okay, so Giant Cobra is being played. Chooses to not discard a card. Oh no, okay, he discards the Calhoun, gains the 2 lore, and then quests for 2 with the Palace Guard and the Calhoun. So, interestingly enough, I choose to challenge into the Calhoun with the Kita. And I believe the reasoning for this at that time is to ensure that he doesn't go too wide. And also on top of this, I do have the Donald Duck Flatfoot to be able to ink an additional card, still guaranteeing me to be able to get a 7-drop next turn by inking an additional card, taking me to 7, and most likely being a Hades for that matter as well. Because he's already at 5, so let's just say if we choose to use the Kita's ability to ink an additional card, that Calhoun's going to give him an additional 2 lore, and he'd be at 9 lore right now. And, you know, once the Amethyst Steel decks run out of cards, they start top decking docks, you know, playing your Yzma, being able to draw more cards, and then playing a bunch of Giant Cobras and winning the game that way. So, again, we do have to be very, very careful when it comes to letting the opponent get too much lore, because we might get to that point where, you know, there's just no going back, right? But we do play off the Hades as expected. And that way we can get rid of the Yzma there, so he's not able to draw 3 cards on the next turn. Okay, so he's going to play a Raja, And he's also going to play another dock as well, discarding the other dock, drawing 2 cards. That's the only unfortunate thing about playing docks, is that you are going to run into having multiple docks in a hand pretty frequently. I personally find, maybe my luck is just really bad, but I always find that I'm always getting 2 or 3 docks in my hand. Because let's just say you open dock, right? And you're probably not going to want to play dock until turn 4, 5, or 6. And then by then you would have an additional 4 or 5 cards from your draw for turn. And there's a pretty high chance that you're going to draw into another dock, unfortunately. But we do play out the Elsa, and we're going to exert that Raja, challenging in with the Hades. So it's going to play the Hypnotic Strength, giving the dog +2 strength, and then drawing him a card, being able to challenge into the Hades and trading with it, as the dog will then be a 3/3. Okay, so playing out another Raja. Raja's a 2-cost 3/3, and it does have Vanish because it's an illusion. So we target with any of our action cards, it will be banished right away. Great, so we're going to be playing out another Elsa, and then both Elsas are going to challenge into the Raja. Again, keeping his board state to a bare minimum. We don't want him to go, wide, because all it takes is 1 dock top deck, and he could be playing 2 additional characters, meaning that in 1 turn he could play up to 3 characters, right, if he has enough ink. So he does play the Genie, and then the Madam Mim, that gives everything else Challenger +1. But we are able to take it out very cleanly by playing the Bell, moving 3 damage over, taking it out. And then Elsa's is going to hit into the Palace Guard, dealing 2 damage to it. And that way next turn we can assure that we are able to take it out by challenging with the Elsa again, if he does choose to quest with it. Because I don't think Amethyst Steel plays Bell, Accomplished Mystic, so we don't have to worry too much on having their damage move back over to our characters. But it's still going pretty slow for us just because we are only at 2 lore, and the opponent does have 10 lore right now and 3 characters on board. So again, it can change at any moment, right? Like if he quests with all those 3 characters, taking him to 13, he could just top deck a Giant Cobra, discarding a card, taking him up to 15. And then from there, it's just going to be still an uphill battle, right? Because he's just slowly going to close out the lore difference turn after turn. So we do play another Hades, taking out one of his characters and inking it for him. But now we are slowly starting to have more and more larger characters being able to be, sticking around there to not only challenge, but now we have Hades that will be able to quest for 2, giving us a little bit of a leeway to catch up while we're, challenging into the rest of his characters here. So he does choose a quest, taking him up to 12, and he does pass the turn. And then we're going to ink into the Unknown, playing out an Elsa, Spirit of Winter, being able to freeze 2 characters on play, and we're going to choose to freeze the Diablo and the Genie. And the reason that we do that is because sometimes Diablo could just challenge into one of our characters, drawing him another card. Therefore, it increases the chances of him being able to find another dock and playing it out, right? Which we don't want. So we rather just freeze his characters and then, quest for quite a bit actually on this turn, because Elsa, Spirit of Winter, is going to quest for 3, Hades is going to quest for 2, Accomplished Mystic is going to quest for 2, and then Bell, the 5-drop Elsa, is going to quest for 1. So we play out another Elsa, exerting one of his characters, and that way we can cleanly take out everything and also just quest hard. Again, we don't need to worry too much on challenging into Diablo or Genie Dragon, just because next turn they are just going to quest, bringing him to 14. And because of that big lore swing on the last turn, it would guarantee us to close out the game on the following turn, because he wouldn't be able to win on that same turn there. So again, like, that's the whole reason why we're questing. Sometimes, you know, you don't have to keep challenging into your opponent's characters. Sometimes it's just very important just to turn your character sideways and just start questing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how you win the game, right? Perfect. So that was a really quick game there. Now it become 1-1 against Amethyst Steel. So this means that Amethyst Steel will be on the play going first, and we will be on the draw going second here. Yeah, so right now we got the two top decks, I would say. So Blurple facing off against Amethyst Steel, and the other top deck could generally be the Hyper Aggro Amber Steel deck, or even the Amber Emerald Dog deck. So he starts it off playing the Diablo, and then I ink the Tipo, finally playing a 1-drop in the form of Royal Guard here. Royal Guard is really good. It's a 1 cost, and it will gain an additional strength for every card that we draw on our turn, including the draw from the beginning of the turn. So he went ahead and played the Raja, and then questing for 1, passing turn to us, where we play the Sail the Azurite Sea, drawing us a card, allowing us to ink an additional card. So again, just finding the turn 2 ramp on the mulligan, and then being able to ensure that we're able to make a turn or a 4-drop on turn 3 in the form of Kita, Iago, or Genie. So he's going to ink the Bell. Okay, so he does actually play Bell in his deck. Interesting. And he plays the Genie Dragon. So right now we need to get some characters on the board ASAP. He's going to ink our Elsa, play the Genie, drawing us a card. And then the Octopus is going to be 3 strength, I believe, being able to take out the Raja, because we drew 1 from turn and then drew 1 from Genie, so it does gain 2 additional strength. So he plays out the Yzma, and he is using a proxy, which we are allowing at our casual leagues here. And then he's going to quest in for 1, taking him up to 4. Okay, so he's gonna ink I'm gonna ink the Baymax, and then we're gonna play the Elsa, exerting the Yzma, being able to take out with both Genie and Elsa. Because next turn he would have gained so much card advantage with that Yzma. Because Yzma is when you exert her, you draw up to 3 cards. So if let's just say he has 0 cards in hand, then he's going to draw 3 cards. If he has 1 card in hand, he's going to draw 2, right? So up to 3 cards when you exert the Yzma. So very, very powerful effect. Plays the White Flower, getting him a lore. And we're going to play a Bell, Accomplished Mystic, moving the 3 lore from Genie, taking out his Genie. And then Genie's just going to challenge into the Diablo, allowing him to draw a card from Diablo there. But again, we are just slowly challenging in his stuff, because we don't want him to get to that 10 lore mark, because that 10 lore mark is the danger zone, especially if we don't have many characters established. Plays a Treasure Guardian. He does not draw from Treasure Guardian, because you do need to control an illusion character. But it is there being a 2-quester. Okay, so we're going to play a Donald Duck, inking a card from the top of our deck, and then questing for 4 with Genie and Bell. So we did catch up here in the lore, and we did also have more characters for us to challenge into his characters. Bell's going to trade very nicely with the Treasure Guardian and the White Flower. Plays the Diablo, sings the strength, taking out the genie. He's going to quest for 2 with Treasure Guardian. Now let's see if we are going to have enough for a genie this time around. So we're inking the visions. Oh, and we're playing the Mufasa. That's right, because we inked quite a bit this game. So Mufasa is going to allow the opponent to choose randomly 2 cards from your ink well and adding back into the hand here. Now Mufasa is a very, very strong card if there is no out from the next turn, because Mufasa, when it quests, you get to ready all of your ink, meaning that we can push for very, very strong play if this Mufasa does survive. And of course, having Zeus rotated out, really the only thing is maybe exerting it with Elsa, challenging it, or maybe singing 2 strengths of a Raging Fire with a bunch of characters on board. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen, so this Mufasa is probably going to stick around long enough for us to push back really hard. Wow, and he does have the Hypnotic Strength, being able to take out the Bell here, leaving the Mufasa the only card on our board right now. Okay, so he's going to play the White Rose, taking him to 9. And let's see what we can do here with the Mufasa. Because if we ink again, that would take us from 6 to 7, and then essentially this turn we'll have 14 ink to use, which is an insane amount. So we do play the Donald Duck, Flustered Sorcerer, and I love this card. I absolutely love this card. So Donald Duck helps out with the aggro matchup, especially because Blurple is quite slow, and we don't have cards like Pirate's Life or any additional ways on, with our colors to be able to gain lore quicker. So Donald Duck, Flustered Sorcerer, is going to help out slowing down the game, ensuring that the opponent, the only way to win is to either get rid of the Flustered Sorcerer or quest to 25. So Mufasa quests, and we're able to then ready all of our ink, being able to play Visions, searching a card from the top 5 of the deck, and then playing the Bell to be able to take out his White Rose there. So very, very, very nice. So he plays the Mim, plays the Diablo, and plays a Dock. So 3 cards in 1 turn. But he is going to be able to need, again, 25 lore, right, if he wants to close up this game. But yeah, so a ruling with the Donald Duck Flustered Sorcerer is if, let's just say, the opponent needs exactly 20 or more, and the Flustered Sorcerer is out on the board, but then gets challenged in or maybe banished, then that opponent will automatically win, because they would have had enough to actually win the game, because you only need to get to 25 lore if Donald Duck the Flustered Sorcerer is on board. So once it's off the board, its effect no longer is active. Now we are going to be playing out the second star to the right here, which is an insane card because we can sing a bunch of our characters with it, and it's going to allow us to draw 5 cards, being able to then use more cards once Mufasa quests and readying all of our ink. And because we have so much ink, we were able to play out 2 Madam Mim Elephants. Opponent discards a card, playing the Giant Cobra, taking him to 16, but does scoop because next turn we do have an insane amount of lore in the form of Mufasa and Donald Duck. And that's pretty much about it. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this game here, guys. I would really appreciate a like and subscribe and a comment. It would help out the channel greatly. And I'll see you guys in the next gameplay video. Have a good weekend.